place. I've seen my share of natural disasters. And on January 22nd, San Diegans experienced one of their own. Floodwaters ripped through two low-income neighborhoods, devastating its residents.
Wow, wow. And in the aftermath, the James M. Cox Foundation expedited a $100,000 grant to the Chicano Federation. Now, this is who immediately went to work for helping those in the communities with the disaster aid. Joining us now is Cox, California's Vice President of Government and Public Affairs, Channelle Hawken, and Liz Ramirez, CEO of the Chicano Foundation. Ladies, thank you for being here. Liz, we'll get started with you. Can you tell us a little bit about the events on January 22nd and of course, its impact it's had on the residents in the City Heights of Shelltown?
Yeah, so on January 22nd, we had large flooding in the communities of San Diego, where some of the most vulnerable communities were impacted. Unfortunately, one of our affordable housing developments has 47 units. All of the 25 units in the bottom were completely destroyed. The units had more than 3 feet of water inside of them. The residents lost everything. And the residents that live there, a lot of them are refugees, a lot of folks that come from Afghanistan and Syria and Congo, and they've lost everything before. And unfortunately, the very few things they had, they lost due to this tremendous crisis.
And it's so sad to hear that. And as a meteorologist, I study the climate. And with climate change, we're seeing more extreme weather events, more flooding events like this. And it's so awful. So, Channelle, your team stepped up right away, which is amazing. So how was Cox able to provide community support during these historic floods to the people who really needed it?
Yes, as you know, sometimes these grant processes can take, a decent amount of time. So when our highest leadership, Cox Enterprises, Chairman Alex Taylor and the head of Cox Communications, Mark Greatrex, heard about the flooding in San Diego, they reached out to us. And within 24 hours, we were able to provide a $100,000 grant to the Chicano Federation. And we were just so impacted by what was occurring in these areas, which actually are not too far from our offices. So in addition to the funding, we also were able to immediately the next morning get our employees out there, cleaning up, providing supplies. So it was a really amazing turnaround, and just the compassion from our top leadership was second to none.
Wow, truly, truly, truly amazing. Now, Liz, I got to ask you, what has this $100,000 grant from the James Cox Foundation done and being used for? And of course, Channelle, if you can follow that up with, was the Chicano Foundation chosen for this grant specifically?
Yeah, I will tell you that more than the funding, to me, it was just the phone call that I got immediately when the flooding started happening. And it was leadership from Cox Communications saying, how are you, my friend, and how can we help? And so that to me was very valuable, that it was all community coming together to really help the residents. The $100,000 right now we're using to help folks stay in hotels. We have 70 residents that are staying in hotels. It's going to take us about 3 months to get everybody back in because they have to tear down completely their units until it's safe, to get them back in. A lot of our tenants also lost their cars. So the cars were completely floating and crashing into each other during the flood. And so we're also helping them with some transportation. Unfortunately, a lot of our tenants are Lyft and Uber drivers as well. So they not only lost their home and their belongings, but they also lost their primary source of income. And so we're helping them not only with, with shelter, but also with some of their basic needs, with food, we're doing hot meal deliveries on a weekly basis. And I'm just so thankful for the support of Cox Communication and everybody that came out to really, connect with our tenants, help our tenants show that they care, and really we're not afraid to, get down and dirty and helping us and clean up and make sure that we get our tenants back in as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And Channelle, I apologize. I asked that question wrong. I meant, why was the Chicano Foundation chosen for the grant itself? If you can answer that.
Well, before that, I'll just say, and it's not even just, if you think about, if, you've got these deductibles on your insurance, and there's so many things that these residents are impacted by. But I will just add one additional thing is that once these residents are able to get back into their units, we're definitely going to provide support, whether it's furniture, appliances. So we're seeing them all the way through to make sure that they can get back in their units and they actually have, the basic necessities once they do get back, because everything was really damaged and we can't replace it. And so we chose Chicano Federation because they've been a partner since 2005. So the foundation wants to see a trusted partner that we've been involved with. I actually have an employee that's currently in their leadership program. So the Chicano Federation has amazing leadership. We know them throughout the community, and we've worked with them for nearly 20 years. So when I saw the email with the visuals, it was an easy sell to jump right on board and support them.
Yeah, it's crucial to jump in immediately and help them when they're in need. And what other ways has Cox helped the community, like San Diego, when dealing with the aftermath of floods and other disasters?
We, I think the foundation is really nimble, and the best example of that is, we typically will give, grants for capital projects or, critical things that empower early childhood development or health. We've supported the Sharp Hospital in San Diego, but when COVID-19 happened and we just saw there were such basic necessities that we needed to provide in our community, we pivoted and we supported, food banks, because we knew that people really needed just the basic necessities during the pandemic. So it's really unusual, I would say, and impressive to have this, multi-million-dollar foundation and this family foundation through Cox Communications that's really able to talk to the local people in the field and pivot when they need to support the needs in the community, like this one with the floods.